Hey warrior, imagine waking up tomorrow with complete control over every word you speak, every emotion you feel, every dollar you spend, and every thought in your mind. Sounds impossible, right? But over 2,000 years ago, a man believed this was not only possible, but the only path to a truly free life. His name was Epictetus, born into slavery. Think about that. He had no control over his body, no freedom to move, no voice in his circumstances. He was owned by others. Yet this man discovered an inner power that transformed him from a physical slave into one of the most learned teachers of spiritual and emotional freedom. He taught that no one can harm you unless you allow it. At first, that may sound harsh, especially to someone truly suffering. But what he meant is, although we can't control everything that happens, we can always control how we respond. And within that response lies our true strength. Today, most of us aren't chained physically, but many are trapped by words, emotions, spending habits, and uncontrolled thoughts. We say things we later regret. We let moods ruin a whole day. We spend money not out of need, but because we're tempted, and we allow our minds to spiral into fear, doubt, and worry. But what if I told you the same wisdom that freed an ancient Roman slave can free you? What if the things you feel most out of control over words, moods, money, and mind are actually your greatest strengths? The Stoic philosophers understood what we often forget today. True wealth isn't measured by money, it's measured by self-control. True power isn't about controlling others, but mastering yourself. And real freedom isn't having endless choices, but knowing how to choose wisely every day, again and again. Life constantly gives you chances to practice this. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Here's your chance to control your words and mood. You're tempted to buy something unnecessary. That's when you control your money. Your mind starts spinning with fear or doubt. That's your moment to master your thoughts. The beauty of Stoic wisdom is it doesn't demand perfection. Even Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in Rome, struggled with these things. In his journal, he reminded himself daily, "You control your mind, not external events." Grasping this brings strength. This lesson isn't about becoming numb, but about becoming so steady within yourself that outside chaos can't shake you. When you control your words, you speak with awareness, not impulsive emotion. When you master your mood, you choose your emotional state instead of letting it control you. When you manage your money, it becomes a tool for peace, not a source of stress. And when you control your mind, you become the author of your thoughts, not their prisoner. In the next few minutes, you'll dive deeper into these 4 pillars of personal power. Together, we'll explore ancient wisdom that fits today better than ever, and you'll gain practical tools to apply right away. But commitment is key. Each part builds on the last, so don't skip anything. Stay with me through every segment, and I promise this can change your life. If you're ready to reclaim control, hit like, comment, and tell me which of the 4 challenges you most. Don't forget to subscribe. This journey to self-mastery is just beginning. Share this video with someone who needs it, because true power starts with you. And leave this affirmation in the comments. I am the master of my words, mood, money, and mind. First, mastering words, the gateway to wisdom. There's an old saying, the tongue may be small, but can cause immeasurable harm. What many don't realize is that words don't just hurt others. Every word you speak builds or destroys the person you're becoming. Seneca, one of Rome's greatest Stoic philosophers, spent years observing the power of words in the Roman Senate. He witnessed careers built and destroyed by mere words, friendships broken by thoughtless speech, alliances forged through careful communication. But his deepest lesson came from himself. Every new beginning comes from the end of some other beginning. Seneca wrote, "This is truest of all for our words. Each time you speak, you end one version of yourself and start another. The question is, are you becoming someone you respect? Think back to the last time you said something in anger and immediately regretted it. In that moment, you felt the power of words unleashed without control. Your words escaped before your wisdom could stop them. Now imagine if you could reclaim that power. What if every word you spoke was carefully chosen, not just blurted out unconsciously? The Stoics developed a simple but profound habit: pausing before speaking. Before speaking, especially in emotional moments, they pause and ask themselves 3 questions. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it kind? If the answer to any is no, they remain silent. But mastering speech is not just about holding back negative words. It's also about using positive words intentionally. When you sincerely compliment someone, you don't just brighten their day. You train yourself to see the good in the world. Speaking encouraging words programs your mind to seek opportunities rather than problems. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his personal journal, "Be like a rock that the waves constantly crash against. It stands firm while the surrounding water remains calm." Your controlled words can become that rock for others. In a world of quick reactions, your words can be a source of peace and strength. Here's a practice to improve your relationships within just 7 days. Before speaking in any emotional situation, take 3 deep breaths. On the first breath, ask yourself what you're feeling. On the second, consider what the other person might be feeling. On the third, choose words that will benefit everyone involved. The magic of controlling your speech is it creates a positive feedback loop. When you speak with intention, others respond differently. They listen more carefully, trust more deeply, and come to you for advice. This isn't manipulation. It's the natural result of becoming someone worth listening to. Yet the greatest power of mastering your words is how it shapes your relationship with yourself. Each time you keep a promise you made aloud, you build trust within. Every time you speak kindly about yourself, you reshape your self-image. When you refuse to gossip or complain, you focus your mental energy on what you can control. Remember, words don't just convey thoughts, they shape them. When you consistently speak with possibility, gratitude, and wisdom, your mind naturally follows that pattern. You become what you repeat. Your mouth is the gateway connecting your inner world to the outside. Master this gateway, and you control a 2-way flow of energy. Tomorrow, we'll explore how this principle applies to your emotional world. For now, keep repeating this daily affirmation as a steady reminder: I speak with power, not emotion. Second, I master my mood, the weather system inside me. Imagine waking each morning to someone deciding the weather inside your mind. Some days, they choose a storm of anger. Other days, a fog of sadness. And sometimes, if you're lucky, they pick radiant joy. This is how many live entirely at the mercy of external feelings. But here's what changed everything for me. And what Stoics discovered over 2,000 years ago: you are not a victim of your emotions. You are their creator. Viktor Frankl, a psychologist and Holocaust survivor, spent years in Nazi concentration camps. In the darkest conditions, he found a truth, echoing ancient Stoic wisdom: between stimulus and response lies a space. In that space is our power to choose how to react. It is in that choice that our growth and freedom reside. Think of that space right now. As you hear these words, that space exists within you, between every stimulus and emotional reaction. It's a moment, sometimes fleeting, where you have total freedom. The Stoics called this the discipline of desire. This doesn't mean wanting less. It means wanting what you have and accepting what you cannot change, while steadfastly working on what you can. When you master this, your mood becomes like a finely tuned instrument you play, rather than a wild storm controlling you. This truth may surprise you. Your emotions are not facts. They are your interpretations. When someone doesn't reply to your message immediately, the situation is neutral. Your mind might create a story that they're ignoring, upset with you, or indifferent. But what if you told a different story? What if they're busy, their phone died, or they're preparing something special for you? Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily. He wrote, "You have control over your mind, not external events. Recognize this, and you will find strength." Each morning, he reminded himself that the day would bring challenges, difficult people, and surprises. But instead of fear, he saw these as chances to practice emotional mastery. Try this powerful exercise now. Think about something that has been troubling you lately. Now ask yourself, what story am I telling about this situation? Then ask, is there another way to interpret it? Finally, which interpretation benefits me the most? The magic happens when you realize you are the author of your emotional experience all along. You just didn't know you were writing the story. But mastering your emotions is not about fake positivity or pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing responses that make you stronger instead of worn out. When you feel anger, instead of suppressing or exploding, use it as motivation for positive change. When sadness hits, instead of sinking in, let it connect you to compassion and empathy for others. The Stoics have a beautiful habit called evening reflection. Each night, they review their day and ask, what emotions did I experience which helped me, which controlled me? How can I respond better tomorrow? This is what happens when you begin training emotional mastery. You'll stop fearing your feelings because you know you can handle them. You'll stop avoiding tough situations because you trust your ability to navigate your emotions. You become a calm center amid others' storms, making you invaluable in relationships and work. Remember, every feeling you have is information, not a command. Anger signals something deeply important to you. Fear warns you to pay attention. Sadness reminds you of a loss. But no emotion has the right to make decisions for you. Your mood is like an internal weather system, and like a skilled meteorologist, you can learn to predict, prepare for, and even influence the weather inside your mind. Type below if you're ready to take charge of your emotional world. I control my emotions. They don't control me. Number 3. Mastering money, the tool of freedom. Money reveals who you are more than most things in life. It's not just currency, but energy, time, and the choices you've made come together. How you manage money determines whether you live freely or become a slave to your desires. Seneca was one of Rome's wealthiest men. Yet he wrote, "It's not the one who has little who is poor, but the one who wants more." This wasn't just philosophy for him, it was a way of life. Despite his vast wealth, he often created hardships for himself, sleeping on the floor and eating simple meals to remind himself that happiness doesn't depend on luxury. Here's a harsh truth many don't want to hear. If you can't control spending, you can't control your life. Every expense you make either brings you closer to freedom or deeper into slavery. There's no middle ground. But mastering money doesn't mean just saving or denying yourself pleasure. It's balancing spending with your values. Using money as a tool, not letting it run you. When you buy out of boredom, sadness, or to impress, money is using you. When you spend on what truly adds value to your life or helps you serve others better, you're using money wisely. Stoics follow a principle called preferred indifferent things that are good, but don't define your worth or happiness. Money fits here. Having it is better than not, but it must never become your master. Think about your last impulse purchase. You know that item might be sitting unused somewhere at home. In that moment, what did you really want? Were you buying the thing, or chasing a feeling, status, comfort, excitement, or acceptance? This exercise will transform your relationship with money. Before buying anything unnecessary, pause and ask yourself, what do I really want here? If the answer is an emotion or experience, find a way to get that feeling without spending first. Often, you'll realize you don't need the item at all. But mastering money isn't just about controlling spending, it's about creating value. Stoics believe in contributing to the common good. When you focus on serving others through work, money becomes a natural outcome, not the main goal. This shift in mindset changes the whole way you earn and spend. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, unwilling, remember this: I am waking up to do the work of a human being." When you see work as service rather than just a paycheck, you perform better, and financial rewards follow. This insight completely transformed my financial life. I began tracking not just where money went, but how I felt after each purchase. What I discovered surprised me. Long-lasting satisfaction came from purchases aligned with my values. Books that expand my mind, experiences shared with loved ones, tools that help me serve others better. But impulse buys, for status or emotion, left emptiness or regret. This simple habit helped me understand spending in a way no budget app ever could. Mastering money also means knowing the difference between assets and liabilities. Every dollar you spend should maintain your earning power or increase your ability to serve others. When you start thinking this way, you naturally build wealth instead of just spending. Remember, the goal isn't to hoard money, but to gain enough freedom to be generous. Take risks and make decisions based on what's right, not just what you can afford. Number 4, mastering the mind. The command center. Your mind is like a garden. Every thought you hold on to is a seed you plant. The question is, what kind of harvest do you want right now? As you listen to me, thousands of thoughts are competing for your attention: worries about tomorrow, regrets from yesterday, judgments about what you hear, plans for today. Most people live their entire lives as passive observers amid the chaos of their minds, unaware that they have the power to choose which thoughts deserve their energy. Epictetus taught his students that true wealth isn't in owning many possessions, but in having few desires. Yet, he wasn't just talking about material wealth. He spoke of richness of the soul. When you stop accepting every thought knocking on your consciousness, you become incredibly wealthy in peace and focus. Think about this. You wouldn't let a stranger into your home to rearrange your belongings. Yet you let random thoughts enter your mind and disrupt your entire emotional state. A single negative thought can ruin your whole day if you give it power. The Stoic philosophers developed a practice called prosophe, constant attention to the present moment and careful monitoring of your thoughts. This isn't meditation as we think of it today. It's like being the guardian of your mind, deciding which thoughts are allowed in and which are turned away. This is an exercise that will change your life immediately. In the coming week, whenever you catch yourself trapped in negative thinking, pause and ask, does this thought help me or harm me? Does it bring me closer to who I want to be or push me away if it doesn't help? Actively replace it with a more positive thought. Mastering your mind doesn't mean toxic positivity or pretending problems don't exist. It's about choosing constructive thoughts instead of destructive ones. Instead of thinking, this is terrible, I can't do anything, try thinking, this is a challenge, and I need to find the best way forward. The situation is the same, but your mental experience is completely different. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in his journal, "The universe is always changing. Our lives are the product of our thoughts." He understood that while he couldn't control the empire's enemies, political conspiracies, or even his own fate, he held supreme authority over his mind's kingdom. Your mind constantly spins stories about the meaning of events. Someone doesn't smile at you, and your mind creates a story of rejection. Traffic jams make you think about being late and chaos. Your boss calls you in, and your mind imagines trouble. But the power lies with you. You can rewrite those stories immediately. The person not smiling might be dealing with their own struggles. Heavy traffic becomes an opportunity to practice patience or listen to something valuable. The boss wanting to meet could bring good news. The ancient Stoics called this discipline of judgment, practicing the skill to separate facts from the stories we tell ourselves about those facts. The fact is, it's raining. The story is, this rain is ruining my day. When you master this distinction, you become incredibly strong because your emotions no longer depend on external circumstances. Try it now. Think of something stressful recently. Now, separate the fact from the story you're telling yourself about it. You'll be surprised to find most stress comes from the story, not the fact. Your mind is also powerful at problem solving when you guide it correctly. Instead of letting it run wild with worry, give it specific problems to solve. Instead of asking, what if things go wrong? Ask, what's the best way to handle this situation? Your mind loves a challenge, but needs clear direction from you. Remember, every thought you think is building or breaking the person you are becoming. You are truly shaping yourself every moment of every day. Affirm to yourself, I am the architect of my mind to reclaim my power. Over time, this creates a ripple effect. When you master your mind, everything changes. Something remarkable happens when you start mastering these 4 areas. They don't just improve individually, they create a ripple effect that transforms your entire life experience, like tuning a guitar. When one string is perfectly tuned, all the others sound better too. When you master your words, people come to you because your speech carries weight and wisdom. When you control your mood, you become a calm anchor. Others seek in chaos. When you master your finances, you gain the freedom to make choices based on values, not just survival. And when you master your mind, you see opportunities where others see only problems. But the true magic happens in the space between these four pillars. Let me tell you about Sarah, a single mother who attended one of my workshops last year. She arrived completely overwhelmed, drowning in debt, often irritable with her children, anxious about the future, and trapped by negative thoughts that kept her awake at night. 6 months later, Sarah sent me a message that brought me to tears. By applying these principles, she not only paid off her credit card debt, but also started a small side business. Her relationship with her children transformed completely because she learned to speak from love instead of frustration. But most importantly, she said she felt like herself again, calm, confident, and in control. The beauty of Stoic philosophy is that it creates a positive cycle. Each small victory in one area strengthens you to face challenges in others. When you control your words in anger, you prove to yourself that you can also master your emotions. When you resist an impulse purchase, you train the same mental muscle that helps you fight negative thoughts. Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. The Stoics went even further. They understood that mastery in these four areas creates a powerful ripple effect. Daily practice not only improves that day, but also makes every day after easier. Reflect on who you were 6 months ago. What struggles did you face? Now imagine who you could become 6 months from now if you consistently apply these principles. The gap between your current self and a better version is closer than you think. Just small daily choices. Here's what I want you to understand. You don't have to be perfect in all four areas at once. In fact, trying to do so often leads to frustration and giving up. Instead, pick the one area that resonates most with you right now and focus on it for the next 30 days. Let your growth in that area naturally spread to the others. The Stoics believed in sympathia, the deep connection between all things. The inner work you do benefits not only you, but everyone around you. When you master your words, you reduce conflict in relationships. When you control your emotions, you create peace at home. When you manage money wisely, you set an example of financial responsibility for your children. When you guide your thoughts constructively, you become a source of solutions instead of problems. But perhaps the most profound impact is how mastery transforms your relationship with difficulties. Instead of seeing challenges as obstacles, you begin to view them as opportunities to practice control. Every tough conversation becomes a chance to refine your speech. Each stressful moment is an opportunity to master your mood. Every financial choice is a lesson in wisdom. Each worry becomes a chance to redirect your mental energy. Shifting your perspective from victim to practitioner changes your entire life experience. Comment below if you're ready to turn every challenge into strength. Every hardship is a chance for me to grow stronger. We begin this journey with Epictetus, who transformed from a physical slave into a spiritual teacher. His secret wasn't changing his circumstances, but mastering himself within them. Today, you have the same choice. He had more than 2,000 years ago. You understand that true freedom isn't having endless options, but always choosing wisely. You see that speech, mood, money, and wisdom aren't separate domains. They are pillars that either support or undermine your growth. But what I want you to remember most is this: it's not about perfection, but intention. Every time you pause before speaking, you build mastery over your words. Each time you choose how to respond to difficult emotions, you strengthen your control over your mood. Every time you spend according to your values, you build financial wisdom. Each time you redirect a negative thought, you reinforce your mental authority. Ancient Stoics faced war, plague, political upheaval, and personal tragedy. Their lives were far from easy, but they possessed something even more valuable. They had an unshakable inner strength born from mastering these 4 fundamental areas. That same strength awaits you. Your transformation begins with a single decision to take responsibility for your inner world. Not because life is fair, it isn't. Not because it's easy, it's not. But because you deserve to live as the master of your experience, not a victim of circumstance. 6 months from now, you could be the same person with old struggles, or someone who has learned to live with wisdom, purpose, and inner strength. The choice is yours, and the moment to decide is now. Remember Epictetus's words: no one can hurt you without your permission. Today, you revoke that permission. Today, you begin the journey from reactive to deliberate, from chaos to control, from slavery to freedom. The 4 pillars of mastery await you. Your future self is counting on you, and somewhere in eternity, the ancient Stoic philosophers are cheering you on. Take the first step. Start today. Start right now. If this message resonates with you, hit like, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Write your commitment in the comments and subscribe for more life-changing lessons. Your journey to mastery starts here. Leave your final affirmation in the comments. Today, I choose mastery over mediocrity, intention over reaction, and freedom over slavery to circumstance.